Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh! Oh! Sorry! I didn't see you there. How's it going? It's your boy, Jarl. And here we go for Season 3 of BBR D-League. We're back again! Who would have thought? Not me, but thanks to all your guys' support from last season and to all my homies and for the admins of BBR. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And here we go for back again, back-to-back season of BBR D-League. Happy to be part of it. Excited to be part of it. And overall, I think it's going to be another fantastic time. Last time, we didn't do that great. we didn't do that great. We got a decent win up against I forget who it was, a team that was undefeated throughout that season. So nice little moment there. Otherwise, still had a good time, made some friends, had some good battles, some good moments, and here we are to make some more of those precious memories. But you know what? This time we're gonna win. Okay, we're gonna do a lot better. Let's at least make playoffs. Okay, that's the goal. Let's make playoffs. But you know, still having fun, still putting our best effort out there, and overall doing our best. So thank you guys for being along for this ride so far, and here we go. Let's dive into our BBR D-League draft analysis. Okay, so we have a couple things to discuss for BBR D-League Season 3. Overall, we have 110 points to choose from. 9 to 11 Pokemon is basically our range we're allowed to choose. Some basic rules: Sleep Clause available, Oko Clause, Evasion Clause, just normal Smogon rules. Certain moves are indeed banned. Last Respects for Smeargle, Houndsdoon, Basculegion, and Basculin. And you got Shedtail, Earthworm, Cyclizar, Sceptile, Smeargle. And, you know, typical rules being like Baton Pass, can't pass with a substitute or any stat raises. Basically, think of it like a momentum as a momentum strictly. Just for that, we do have 8 regular weeks of battles for this season, of course, and then not including the playoffs. There's a lot of people in this draft. There's 18 altogether. Yeah, it's all one division too, so fairly big for sure, but we finished up pretty early and that was nice, so we all had time to prep and all that sort. And your boy was placed 10th out of 18, so not great at all. Basically straight in the middle, pretty much the worst spot to be in for draft. And overall, we had to make do with what we got. I've been fairly lucky the past few drafts, getting first and second in terms of picks, so it's about time I basically brought down to a level where it's like, yeah, you know what, you're not gonna have that insane luck anymore. But you know what, still, we made it work. Back to some draft rules. Only one Pokemon is eligible as a Terra Captain. Basically, almost every single Pokemon in the league is allowed to Terra, except for a certain few, of course, barring some restrictions. And with that one Terra Captain, it's open Terra preview, so you can choose any Terra type, but before you two battle, before you actually start initiating the battle, you gotta tell each other which Terra you are for your captain. In my case, I don't really have to announce it, as you will see, because we have a specific Pokemon that only has one Terra. And overall, like I said, 10 out of 18 picks, a little rough to go by, but you know what? We made it work, and let's just dive right into it. Alright, so our first pick is Ogerpon Teal. We are bringing back Asuka, because last season we have Ogerpon Wellspring. I thought about changing it up. I want to use Ogerpon Teal because it is actually going to be our Terra Captain of this season, which is fantastic. Only thing with Ogerpon Teal, once it Terras, it sticks as a grass type, so you actually cannot change any typing. So unfortunately, we can't have that variation or opportunity to switch into different typings for different matchups. We got to deal with that. Ability Defiant allows us to switch in to any defog users or attack users that come in, or sorry, intimidate users that come in to actually raise our attack even further from that 120 base attack, which is fantastic. And 110 speed is also fantastic. It's a great speed to start off with, and once we Terra, we get embodiment aspect, which every Ogerpon has to raise a different stat. For our case, for Ogerpon Teal, it raises our speed once every time we switch in, or once we Terra, of course, too. So every time we switch in, we get +1 speed. Fantastic. Breaks a lot of speed users coming in, barring if they're scarfed or they're boosted with some other speed, of course. But it's so nice to have. Ogerpon's coverage, its physical moves, and its utility is very good. It gets some good fighting stab, as well as Brick Break, Low Kick, and Close Combat. Gets Encore, it gets Spikes, so we can set up hazards. Spiky Shield, which is exclusive just for the Ogerpon forms, which if any Pokemon does a physical attack against us, they take an 8th advantage, but it doesn't protect us from like Taunt, for example. So it's not quite like Protect, but it, you know, allows us to protect ourselves, and if someone, a physical attacker is like up against us, they'll be taking like Brocky helmet damage, which is nice as well. Leech Seed as well as Synthesis gives us good recovery, as well as Horn Leech, so that's nice as well. Stomping Tantrum, which is decent too, as well as Play Rough against those dragon types. Zen Headbutt for any poison types, as well as fighting types. And what's nice is that we get Taunt and Sword Stance, so we can taunt someone's trying to set up like Hazards, for example, or trying to set up. We can set up ourselves with Sword Stance, as well as Trailblaze to raise our speed. And we got U-Turn for Momentum, which is awesome. This Pokemon's great. I'm so happy to use it. I love the Ogerpon forms. Ogerpon's probably maybe my favorite Mon this generation. I just love this Mon. It does so much, and every form is like has some utility with it too. So I'm happy to bring back Oscar this season. And next up, we got Harlem Heat with our Harlem Heatran. Harlem Heat previously a tag team back in WCW, one of the GOATs for sure. And what's nice about Heatran is that it covers a lot of Ogerpon's weaknesses, being fire, flying, poison, and yeah, I mean, overall super good. I mean, it covers Ogerpon pretty nicely. The only thing is its speed 70, base 77, not great, but its bulk fairly good. 91 HP, 106 defenses, and then 130 special attack. It's gonna be a special attacker for sure. Its abilities are pretty good. Flash Fire makes us fully immune to fire type attacks, so as well as giving us a 1.5, basically a 50% damage boost for our fire type moves. And Flame Body, if any physical attackers make contact with us, 30% chance to get burned, and that works super well with Will-O-Wisp. But the rest of the utility this thing gets, it's not too much, but it also gets Taunt, Substitute, and Stealth Rock, so it is another hazard users beside Ogerpon with spikes. So that's something to keep note of. In terms of coverage, Scorching Sands, Earth Power, Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, so that's decent. And then this, in terms of fire moves, this thing gets almost every fire move under the sun, but Magma Storm, its signature ability, allows us to trap the Pokemon in and take residual damage, so that's pretty good too. Next up, we got Hikaru Shida, our Samurott Hisui, currently AEW women's wrestler and like three-time women's champion, so she's one of the GOATs for sure. I've never used Samurott Hisui before. I've always wanted to use it. It's honestly maybe one of the best spikers in the game with Ceaseless Edge and that Dark Stab, so it's awesome. And Sharpness is such a good ability, 50% damage boost to any slicing moves of a Pokemon, and this Pokemon gets a lot of slicing moves. Stats wise, mixed attacker actually, 108 attack and 100 special attack, but we're mainly going to be using it for physical attacks, but it actually does get some pretty decent special moves, which we'll go over later. Its bulk isn't terrible besides its special defense at 65, but 90 HP and 80 defense, you can make that work. A respectful 85 speed, so faster than Heatran by a few points, but definitely slower than Ogerpon, so you definitely have to be careful with that. In terms of coverage, this thing gets some good fighting coverage, Big Break, as well as Sacred Sword. So Sacred Sword gets a sharpness boost, for example. In terms of priority, Sucker Punch, as well as Aqua Jet, which is nice, X Scissor, as well as Mega Horn, and it gets some ice coverage. Avalanche is meh, same with Blizzard, but we got Ice Beam, for example, as well as Grass Knot, so we can take advantage of our like base 100 special attack, which again isn't terrible. You can make that work. If another water type, bulky water type comes in against us and it's maybe heavier, we can take advantage of that. Or if a flying or dragon type comes against us, well, guess what? We can run Mix and have Ice Beam, for example. But otherwise, we got a lot of really good water type moves, but Ceaseless Edge is going to be our main one to if it hits. But we're the Hacks gods, so of course we're going to hit. Basically just getting a layer of spikes on the opponent's side, which is fantastic, as well as knockoff. It's going to be a fantastic knockoff user. In terms of momentum, it gets Flip Turn. My goal is to be a pretty momentum heavy draft, which I was able to at the end of the day. Yeah, having the opportunity to switch between Mons and having so much momentum for our future team is fantastic. It actually finishes our Grass, Fire, Water core, which I want to get out of the way. It's just nice to have, just to switch in and have the availability to have coverage for certain Mons. It's nice to have. Unfortunately, having Samurott Hisui right after Heatran gives us 2 fighting type weaknesses in a row, but I think our next 2 picks will help out with that. And it was at this point we actually started getting picked off quite a bit, sniped I should say. Zapdos I wanted to go for, and there was another Mon which I'll talk about that I got sniped on too. It was a very snipe heavy draft. 18-man draft, like I said, is a lot of people, and you have to work with what you got, and since my placing wasn't the best, again, I basically have to get some good picks in before they go. And one of these picks was Noivern, Ilya Dragunov, former NXT wrestler, currently in the main roster, sidelined with injury at the moment, but just a super hard German, Russian wrestler, hard as nails. This guy is awesome. If you ever want to watch his matches, watch this guy's matches, especially against Gunther. He's the GOAT. Noivern gives us a dragon type as well as a flying type, so now we don't have to worry about all of these earthquake users against Heatran, and Ogerpon helps us with that. But if we want something fully immune to that, we got Noivern. 123 speed, fantastic. Gives us another very speedy Pokemon along with Ogre to take advantage of. It's not quite a fierce special attacker. 97 special attack. It's not the best, but its bulk isn't bad. 85 in HP and 80 in defenses. That's pretty decent if you ask me. It does have Dragon Dance and physical moves, but with that base 70 attack, probably won't be taking advantage of it as much. Its two abilities are really good. Upon switching with Frisk, we can see the opponent's items, which is handy to have. An Infiltrator fully ignores Substitute and screens of the opponent, which is nice. In terms of utility and coverage, this thing gets a decent amount, honestly. But mostly if you're running a special set, you'll be running like Draco Meteor, Dragon Pulse, Hurricane, for example, Boom Burst if you want to run like Throat Spray, for example. It gets Defog. That's one of the main reasons I chose this mon, because a lot of spinners and Defog users were getting picked already, and I didn't really want to use any other mons that I used previously in BBR. I mean, at this point, I wanted Dragon typing just to finish up another core, as well as something super fast and has Defog, so I chose Noivern. At the end of the day, it has momentum in U-turn, which is fantastic. Whirlwind to phase other opponents out. It also gets Tailwind to boost to double our speed for 4 turns for our team. Taunt and Switcheroo, very good. We talk about having that to switch different items. Super Fang to also hit some of those bulky mons, get some HP out. Shadow Ball, it's got some good psychic coverage and psychic noise and psychic. Moonlight, as well as Roost for recovery, which is fantastic. Focus Blast, Flamethrower, and Heat Wave for some also really good decent coverage. And we talk about Dragon Dance if you want to run a physical set, but we also get Dark Pulse, which is good for psychic types and ghost types too. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, I've always wanted to use Noivern. I was happy to finally get Noivern, and again, having that speed stat is fairly good. I'm another momentum user, another fast user, and that's why I want to take advantage of this draft. And next pick is Florges, Jade Cargill, formerly AEW Women's Champion and now currently Tag Team Champions along with Bianca Belair in WWE. And originally this is going to be Pheasantipity. Unfortunately, I got sniped again because I wanted a Grounded Poison by then too, and I thought Pheasantipity, along with its stats, kind of fit the bill. And a lot of the fairy typings were really getting picked this round. This is like the round or round and a half where every fairy type I should say was getting picked. And you know, I didn't want to use Sylveon again. I used it last season. Clefable got sniped, unfortunately, and I thought Florges was good because Florges has 154 special defense. It's fantastic. It's a good special defensive wall along with a 70 HP. You can work with that. It's not terrible, but that 112 special attack, it makes it a better special attacker compared to Noivern, for example. Only thing is 75 speed is not great. It's just slightly slower than Heatran, and both of its abilities are completely useless, so we're just gonna skip over that altogether. In terms of utility, this spawn's great. In terms of recovery, it gets Synthesis and Wish, so if we want to use Wish on Florges, for example, and then switch into Ogerpon or Heatran and get the HP back, it's fantastic. It's great. It gets Trick, so along with Switcheroo Noivern, we can switch some items around. It gets Stored Power as well as Calm Mind if we want to set up a Baton Pass for momentum as well, so we don't get U-turn, but it's another momentum user. Baton Pass. Chilling Water gives us a nice water coverage, especially against those fire types, which actually resist fairy typing, which is good. Dragon Kiss is another healing move we can use. It also gets Energy Ball, and it gets Screens, which is super nice, so it gives us a screen users to work with, which is nice, so we put Light Clay on it, and then if we want to bring a screen team against our opponent, then we can work with that. But like I said, this mon is mainly used for its special defense and for its utility, and at that time, I think we needed to get some of that. And next up, we're going with Metaletta, Carmella, current WWE women's wrestler, and gives us a Serene Grace user, because Jarl, we like our hacks, baby. Yes sir, cannot complain. We used Drachi in a past draft before and had a lot of fun with that, and we're hoping Metaletta comes back with that same fire. And the good thing about Metaletta is we got 2 forms. We got regular form and we got periodic form. Regular form having normal psychic for its typings, and periodic form having normal fighting. Basically, it's a special attacker versus a physical attacker. Different speeds, of course. If we look at Metaletta, we get the base 90 speed, and then periodic form has the 128 speed, basically having 100 HP across the board for both of them, which is fantastic. That's a lot of HP to work with. Regular Metaletta having 128 special attack, and then periodic form having 128 physical attack, and then special defense from regular form gets moved on to speed for periodic form. And what's nice about these two, for coverage, psychic coverage, normal coverage, and fighting coverage, because you got to work with both. If you want fighting coverage for regular Metaletta, you got Focus Blast. If you want psychic coverage for pure wet form, you gotta send headbutt, for example. So they each have their ups and downs for sure. In terms of coverage, acrobatics, which is nice, gets a lot of fighting type moves, like I did before. Energy ball, it gets knockoff, which is super good. Ice punch as well. Ice punch along with triple axle, so it gives us a nice triple axle user, which is really nice. It gives us some good fairy coverage along with luring voice. Some other coverage being stone edge, thunderbolt, thunder punch, and thunder, so we can run, you know, some of those moves on the pure red form or the regular form. We got momentum in quick attack, substitute sword stance if we want to set up in pure red form, and calm mind if we want to set up in regular form. Trick as well gives us another trick user we talked about before. Trick room, which we most likely not use, but we got another momentum in U-turn, so we got baton pass and U-turn. So think how many mods we have that has momentum in this team. It's awesome. It's a lot of good opportunities to switch onto switch-ins and then have the advantage of the actual switch. I know it's pretty redundant, but we're trying to make it work. We're trying to make it work. And overall, yeah, I mean, I've never used Meloetta as well. I'm trying every draft I do, I try to use a lot of different new mons just to take advantage of like different experiences and kind of know what I like and what I don't like. And I think Meloetta has the best of both worlds, literally, like Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana, because I could be a special attacker, I could be a physical attacker. It's nice to have, and it gives us a fighting type user as well. So at this point, we actually finished our draft. The Pokemon you see actually over here, that's who we dropped. We dropped Okidogi, Entei, Mudsdale, and Regieleki. So we did drop a rapid spin user in Regieleki. Regieleki I actually previously used last season, and since I got sniped so many times, I was just kind of making desperate picks to make the team work. I got Entei and Mudsdale because I wanted to trade out Heatran for Miss Magius and Bronzong, for example, but those got sniped. So I got brutally sniped this draft, which is pretty obvious because it's an 18-man draft, and once you're in the middle, like I said, you're just looking for whatever works at this point, and power is getting chosen left and right, and you don't want to be missing out on that. So we did make a few changes with consultant with some other members in this draft, as well as some other friends. We managed to make this work. We really had to look into what works and the coverage for everything, and with the last 4 Pokemon that I did through free agents and transactions, I think we made it work. The first Pokemon we got through transactions being Polysand Solruka, who is a NXT women's wrestler, and gives us a Ghost Ground type, because initially I wanted Golurk. I thought Golurk were really good, but then considering the snipes that was given and then some changes throughout the team, we thought Polysand looked a lot better because it's a lot physically bulky. It's got 110 defense as well as 85 HP, so we can take some good old physical hits. Kind of corresponds well with a Florges being the special defensive mon, but also it gives us a decent special attacker with 100. Its attack and special attack, really nothing to look at, so don't worry about that, and speed's atrocious. But if we ever want to do a trick room set with Meloetta, we could maybe, but it gives us a good rapid spin blocker in our ghost type, and gives us a nice ground type to work with, because ground typing is always nice to have. In terms of coverage and utility, it's okay. I mean, you get recovery and shores up, of course, and if someone wants to bring in a Sandstorm team, we actually do heal up more. It gets Stealth Rocks, so we got another Rocks user besides Heatran, so we don't always have to rely on that as well. It gets Trick, surprisingly, another Trick mon. In terms of recovery, we get Pain Split, which is good. We can raise our stats up with Curse as well as Iron Defense. So unfortunately, we don't get Body Press, which is whatever, but you can make it work. Destiny Bonds is fantastic. If someone wants to come in and they're going to kill us next turn, we can threaten with Destiny Bond. But in terms of coverage, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon, Psychic, for example, as well as Sludge Bomb. And then we got, typical special moves as like Shadow Ball, Scorching Sands, Earth Power, for example. And Hex is fairly good if we manage to burn something with Heatran's Flame Body or Will-O-Wisp, or we manage to Thunder Wave something, or get something hacksy in with Meloetta. If we have something fall asleep or if we paralyze it, then Hex actually really works well with that. I mean, yeah, it just gives us a physically defensive mon and a nice ghost type and ground type mon, so I think that's nice to have overall. Our next free agent pick is Thundurus, which we've used previously back in Ticket Chat Friends League. That had been like beginning of the year, I think, so like months and months ago. So we're bringing a returning member back Prankster for the ability, but also has the beauty about having Defiant if we want to run a more physical set if something like Intimidate user comes in against us. So basically the exact same premise as Ogre Pawn, but Prankster allows us to get in some cheeky status moves to go first immediately. And its stats overall, 111 speed, we're going up on the speed train again. Along with that, Ogre Pawn, Noivern, and Pirouette Meloetta, our team is looking fast as fuck, boy, and that's what we want. We want an aggressive, fast team. And its attacks, special attack 125 and physical attack is 115. Both very good. Like I said, with Defiant, you could easily make it a physical attacker. It gets acrobatics for stab, so that's awesome. So good. Bulk isn't that great. 79 HP, 70 defense, and 80 special defense, so you can make it take like a hit or two, but you're mostly looking at it for its utility and for its offense. Talking about its offense, it can set up with Nasty Plot and Agility, which is fantastic. It also gets bulk up, then Nasty Plot and Agility. It gets both really good momentum moves in terms of Volt Switch and U-turn, so if we're up against a ground type, we're not forced to Volt Switch against it. We can just U-turn to have some coverage. Weather Ball allows us to go against certain weather teams and have a different type of move for that, which is nice as well. Its coverage is pretty decent. It's got Crunch, Dark Pulse, Flash Cannon, Focus Blast, Grass Knot, Hammer Arm, as well as Brick Break to get rid of screens, Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave. Yeah, also send Headbutt. So like I said, you can run different sits on it, of course. We got the Momentum. We got Thunder Wave as well, so have some cheeky Prankster Thunder Waves. Definitely nice to take advantage of. But yeah, if we can take advantage of, you know, having Prankster Taunt, for example, Prankster Thunder Wave, Prankster Nasty Plot, definitely, you know, something to keep in mind of. And we get knockoff too, so any knockoff users are super nice to have. Gives us another flying type, considering we already have a flying type in Noivern. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's okay. At this point, we are becoming a little weak to Ice-type moves. Heatran and Cimarron, thankfully, kind of corresponds with that and gets rid of that weaknesses. But otherwise, it's just something to have. Prankster, I think, was very good. I was maybe looking at, like, Grimmsnarl if I didn't get the Florges, but it gives us another Dark type. So, I don't know. Ups and downs, like I said. But I think having more momentum and having that speed in and having that opportunity to have Prankster status moves, I think will work out quite a bit. And next up, we got Quillfish, actually. Our Quill Shot, based off Kill Shot in Lucha Underground, currently known as Swerve Strickland in AEW. Former AEW champion, of course, one of the GOATs. Hey, look, our Grounded Poison that we were looking for before, which is awesome. And it gives some of the water typing, which isn't too bad as well. I think having some bulky waters is a decent idea. Intimidate. Its abilities allows us to come in against a physical type opponent and lower their attack, which is awesome. A poison point, you know, basically the poison version of Flame Body. If something physical touches us from a physical move, it has a 30% chance to poison. And we got Swift Swim, but we're most likely not going to be taking advantage of Swift Swim. Eviolite, we're probably going to be using 99% of the time on this Pokemon because its stats isn't great. 85 speed is okay, and you got the 95 attack, which is pretty decent as well. Again, otherwise, its defense 85, it's okay, but special defense is but like I said, you're mainly using it as an Eviolite user, maybe Black Sludge. I've seen Quillfish Draft have its uses, honestly. It's not bad. It gets Thunder Wave. So that's another hacks user right there. It gets Thunder Wave. It also gets Toxic, so it gives us actually a Toxic user, which is fantastic, as well as Toxic Spikes, as well as regular Spikes. So we got a fantastic Hazard user here in Spikes and Toxic Spikes. That's fantastic. That corresponds with Hex on Palossand, for example. Also, yeah, it gets some decent coverage. It's got its like Poison Stab and its Water Stab, of course, but it gets some Ice type moves and like Ice Beam. It gets Shadow Ball, for example. Bar Barrage was also very good. That was from PLA, so as well as Hisuian Quillfish and Overquill gets it, but it gives us a nice opportunity to use Bar Barrage, which has a 50% poison chance to poison, and it doubles in damage if it's already in poison, so that's good as well. Chilling Water corresponds with Intimidate quite well. We got Priority and Aqua Jet, which is nice. We can boost our speed up with Agility. We can set up with Curse. We got Destiny Bond as well, which you see on a lot of Quillfish as well. Gunk Shot for stab, Haze to get rid of any stat increases, so actually gives us a nice Haze user, which we're looking for before. Pain Split as well for some recovery and a mess with the other Pokemon as well. We can do some substitute sets and Sword Stance to raise our attack, and Taunt as well. So I mean, honestly, this Pokemon has a decent amount of utility, Grounded Poison type, and Intimidate user. I think it works out quite well. And last but not least, we got Daniel Bryan, or Cobalion is our last free agent transaction that we went with. Just 5 for the ability. so any dark type move that we get hit by, our attack raises by 1, which is good because we just eat up dark type moves for days. Another steel typing and a fighting typing, because fighting typing as well as Pirouette form, Meloetta, and steel typing in Heatran. But at this point, again, with these last 4 Pokemon, I'm just looking for coverage from typings and making sure our type chart, we don't have any clearing weaknesses, which is nice. So basically, at this point of the draft, with all of these Pokemon, we're covered pretty much by all of our bases. The only thing is we're missing is a rapid spin user, so we're kind of have to rely on Boots and Defog on Noivern to make that work, but I think we make it work. 108 speed, fantastic. We're talking about all of our speedy mods previously. This kind of rounds out the finalization of our draft with some good speed. 129 defense is fantastic, 91 HP, and is very good with 72 special defense. Not great, but its bulk is awesome. And the beauty about having 90 in both attack stats is that you can run mixed. You can run special attack, you run physical sets, you can run special sets, you can run mixed, but this also gets body press along with iron defense, so that's pretty awesome. You can take advantage of some beefing up your defense stat and then just absolutely hitting it with stab body slams. It's good. Coverage, this thing's not bad as well. It gets Stealth Rocks, which is awesome, so it gives us another Stealth Rocks user. It also gets Vote Switch for Momentum, so talk about Momentum before. Isn't that fantastic? Actually, I forgot to mention also Quillfish gets Flip Turn as well. So that gives us like our last 3 Pokemon has more momentum users. So it's about like I want a lot of momentum for this draft, and we got that exactly. But going over different coverage moves, we got a lot of different fighting type moves and steel type moves we do. In terms of coverage, like Air Slash, we get set up with Calm Mind, as well as Sword Stance, which is decent. We got Poison Jab for fairy types, Sacred Sword, which is nice. We got Stone Edge for flying types, ice types, etc. It gets Taunt, Sub, and also gets Thunder Waves, gets some cheeky paralysis over. X-Scissor for coverage as well as Zen Headbutt. Capoleon was just kind of the last pick to be like, hey, let's round out some of our weaknesses. Basically kind of go along with like Quill Shot, Quillfish, Thundurus, and Palossand, basically just kind of rounding out what makes the team work, get some more hazard users in and good momentum users. And yeah, am I happy with this roster now? Yeah, actually, I'd say I am. I was in quite a fret before figuring out what the hell am I gonna do and how am I gonna make this work. But thankfully, I was able to make it work. But I like to thank BBR and all the admins of BBR and staff for having me in for another season for D-League, and for all my other homies who made it in. I'm gonna kick your ass, and hopefully we have a good season. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the videos and for all the support. I greatly appreciate it. I'm gonna try being more professional or more YouTuber-like, maybe. Again, I mostly was doing this for a pet project or a passion project of mine, but it'd be nice to maybe get a bit more traction off of it. And I'll try my best with these battles and editing. I want to win. If not, I want to make it to playoffs this season, because last season was awful in terms of placing. But yeah, let's do better. But thank you guys for watching the draft analysis. Hopefully enjoy the season. Let's kick some ass, all right? The king has to take his crown, baby. But thank you guys for watching. Oski wee wee, Oski wawa, holy machina, Torracats, eat 'em raw. And thank you so much. Stay tuned.